In this episode of Yes and Land, I sit down with Jana Oman. I'm really excited about today's episode because we're talking about something so many people feel but rarely name. The pressure to show up online like everyone else, to look polished, confident, and put together, even when it doesn't feel true. In this conversation with Jana, we use Encanto to explore why that pressure actually holds us back and why the real breakthrough happens when we stop performing and start being ourselves. If you've ever wanted to show up online but felt stuck, overthought it, or worried your flaws disqualify you, this episode is for you. Welcome to Yes and Land, where we say yes to the reality of what you're facing, and we say and to the possibility, joy, and new chapters still ahead. Today, we're very excited to have Jana Oman joining us today. She's got a really interesting story and kind of where her career has taken her with some twists and turns and to where she's now really established herself with some really unique things and ideas and things that she's done in real estate and the way that she's able to do that. So we're really excited to kind of jump into some conversations today with her. What we're going to be doing today is exploring a little bit about the idea of kind of building your personal brand, finding kind of what's authentic to you as opposed to trying to fit in and do what everybody else is doing.
Right.
And so as we kind of explore that, we're also going to explore today a little bit from the movie Encanto, which I'm very excited about because I don't know if you knew, but that's actually my favorite Disney movie.
Oh,
Did I tell you that?
really?
I didn't tell you
No.
that. Totally is my favorite. I might be a big Lin-Manuel Miranda fan, so that certainly had some influence on it, but man, it's quality. And I just went through and rewatched it and was also listening to the soundtrack all this morning while I'm getting ready. So like, I'm
So
prepped.
you know your stuff.
I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. So where I want to start though is first, let's just talk a little about kind of your background, where you got to where you are, but take us like all the way back, you know, when you first are kind of starting a family, kind of what that journey was like about what you thought you were going to study, what that was going to look like. Kind of start us from there.
My story starts actually in the tech world, and I start back when I was 8 years old. So at 8 years old, my dad had me doing a lot of programming and coding.
Really?
Yes.
Well, he was just like, girl, this is the future, so you need to start learning
Yes.
this.
He really saw the value, the changing times and things like that. So
What kind of things were you doing to code? Like when he's having you do it, like what did that
this
look
was
like?
pre-Windows time. So this was MS-DOS, all Word
my.
command line prompts, things like that. So I got to learn a lot of that and I loved it, but it was more of a hobby for me. I never imagined getting into that field.
Mm-hmm.
And so growing up, I didn't realize I could go to college just because I grew up the way that I grew up. I didn't realize it was something that I could do. And so I had a teacher sit me down and say, hey, did you realize that this is something you can actually do? It's not far-fetched. It's not for other people. It's something that you can do. And so I got a scholarship and ended up going to school. And then I got asked, what is it you want to do? And I started studying business, thinking, okay, well, I'll do business. But I didn't like it. Coincidentally enough, I didn't like it.
At least not the way it was being presented to you, right?
It just didn't click. And so
Where did you do that? Where were you at?
I started at the community college and then I went over to the U and then I stopped.
Well, look, I mean, that's oftentimes a good route to go. I think that's sometimes what people don't realize is like, I hear people all the time say, like, if I say, hey, where are you going to school or where'd you go to school? A lot of times I'll hear, oh, just Slick, which is Salt Lake Community College, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just Slick or just community college. I'm always like, why adjust?
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't need to be just this. Like community college is great. They offer great opportunities for people to start college maybe they didn't think they could, or to explore different programs or classes or ideas about things that they might like. I mean, I think community college is a wonderful thing. And then sometimes it does transition to then, you know, a major university, which it did for you, but your path took you elsewhere.
Yeah. So I started thinking, well, I don't want to do business. So what I do know is technology, computers, and things like that. And I thought, well, I'll dive into that and see how that goes. And I did it, and slowly with what I was doing for work, it just kind of migrated to where I got to the point that I was doing what I was studying in work and thought, well, okay, I guess this is the route that I'm going to take. I loved it. I loved that part of things, the tech. That whole world just has always clicked with me.
What were you doing? What was your major that you were studying?
I was managing networks. So I was a systems administrator managing networks, websites, servers, things like that, all the back end stuff. So, the pretty things that people did, I just supported them do that. You do that, I do this. And so I did that for a while. I had my kids. I have 4 kids now, but at that time I had 3 kids. And when I found out I was pregnant with my 4th, I decided, okay, well, I can't do this and manage a household, so I need to do something a little easier. And I thought, well, real estate's the thing.
Sure.
I see it on TV all the time, and everybody made it look so easy.
Yeah. When was this? What year was this?
This was in 2014.
Okay.
So in 2014, I'm looking at things and thinking, okay, well, I'll get into real estate because I'll still continue working.
And had real estate started to swing back up at that time, right? Because
yes.
we had the big dip, 2008,
Yes.
terrible, 2009, bad. All the market was pretty depressed, but then we started to see a recovery where it started to gain more steam.
Yes.
And that was probably about that time.
That was during the time, things were okay. And I actually bought my first house in 2008, which is crazy. And me being a first-time home buyer, I didn't realize what the market was doing.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I was just like, I want to buy a house.
Yeah.
And nobody told me what was going on with the market. And so that was very interesting.
Did you buy at the low? So you got a great deal?
No.
Or you bought when it still high before it fully
yes, I bought at the high.
Oh.
So when I sold my house 5 years later, I made like $5,000.
Oh, brutal.
So, I went through the dip and then went back up. It was very interesting to see that I didn't have any of that knowledge back then. And so when I got into real estate, by that time I had sold that house, bought another one. I thought, okay, well, I can do this. And I'm going to target those people that need the help.
Yeah.
People like me at the beginning that didn't have any idea what was going on, didn't realize what my options were. That's when I started to get a little bit more passionate about real estate, and what I was doing is helping people that were in a similar position, especially with the way that I grew up, getting to where now I own a house. That's crazy. When you grow up that way, you don't think of these things.
Yeah. So you start doing real estate, and what was that journey like at the beginning? Was it immediately successful? Was it a slow burn? Like, what did that look like as you're starting to jump into real estate?
Great question, because a lot of people don't realize how much work it takes. Me included. I started off thinking, oh, this is going to be easy. Slam dunk. But it was not.
Yeah.
I mean, I did it part-time at the very beginning, and then I was told there was just so much noise from everybody telling you how to do that job.
I'm sure.
You have to door knock, you have to cold call, you have to just do things that I just feel like weren't part of me or what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And anytime that I would say, well, I don't think that I should do it that way, I want to try this, I would get looked at like I had a third head, like just what are you talking about? People had no clue back in that time how powerful social media and things like that were.
Yeah.
That's when I started to, start listening to myself a little bit more and started posting on social media a little bit. And I remember...
And before you got back to that, though, what was it like when people were telling you, like, no, you do it this way? Like, what did that feel like as you're trying to dive into this new thing and you've got lots of voices shouting at you, basically, right? Like, no, don't do it that way. You have to do it this way.
That actually goes towards what Mirabel was experiencing in the movie, where, she just didn't feel like she belonged.
Yeah.
Where everybody around her, they all have their own special powers. Everybody in real estate seemed to have their crap together.
Yeah.
And so I just felt out of place during that time.
Yeah.
And thought there's got to be a different way to do this. And I guess, Mirabel's moment was when she realized that she was the glue that held that family together.
Yeah.
And that was her power. And finding my power was getting into real estate, listening to me, to myself, to my intuition, and doing it the way that I wanted to do it, the way that I felt needed to do it.
That's hard.
It is.
Because it's a risk, right? It's easier just to say, well, I'm just going to try to be like everybody else. I'm just going to try to do it like everybody else because, well, they've done it successfully, so that must work for me. But many times that's just not the case.
It's not a one size fits all. And this goes along with in any field, in any business. Doing things in the way that you feel is best to attract the people that you want to work with and the people that will benefit the most from the magic that you offer. That's where it's at. And slowly over time, I realized what I needed to do was listen to myself and believe in myself.
What gave you the courage to do that and to stick with real estate? Because, when you're trying to do it like everybody else and you're out there knocking doors, which is the worst, right? Or cold calling people, horrible. And I know there's people that have done it and they're super successful doing it, and that's great. But man, I hate that stuff. What gave you the courage and strength to say, I'm going to keep doing real estate, right? And I'm going to find a better, different way to do it that's more authentic and unique to me, as opposed to not just saying, I'm just not going to do real estate, right? I don't like doing the door knocking. I don't like doing the cold calling. I'm going to do something else. What gave you the courage?
I would say the freedom, because family is very important. So being there for my family was my number one motivator. But having that flexibility that real estate provided, or having your own business provides you, yes, it's a 24/7 job, but you're able to have a little more flexibility with your schedule.
Yeah.
And I think the courage was when I realized I was looking at other people's successes and I was starting to get a little bit more success. Every time that I did something that aligned with how I felt, like, oh, maybe I should post like this, and I got positive feedback, or maybe I got a client from it, that's when I realized there's something there. I just need to dive into it and not listen to the naysayers, because you're going to have naysayers. You're going to have people that are going to criticize what you're doing, no matter how you're doing it. If you're door knocking it, you're not doing it right. Or, if you're cold calling, you're not doing it right. But everybody has their own strength. Yeah. And so just finding what resonates and being authentic is what's going to get you there.
What was your process for doing that? Because as you're taking this stab at doing something different than everybody else, not every video you had or repost you had was a raging success, right? So what was your process to put something out, analyze it, and then make improvements? Like what did you go through? Did you have something very regimented that you would do when you would do those things to see if it was working or not? Or was it mostly kind of by feel as you went? What did that look like process-wise for you?
Oh, there was a lot. I mean, in any business, you have a lot of failures before you actually figure out the secret sauce, right? And so there was a lot of just posting random things to see what brought value, what brought traction. So it was just trial and error. And I know being on camera is a big issue, which is what I do now, is just being on camera, creating content and videos, which is weird to think that, oh yeah, I sell houses, but a big thing of what I do is creating content to attract those people.
Well, was that scary? Because if you're putting content out there and you don't know if it's going to land or not, you're having to be vulnerable, right? You're saying like, well, I'm going to put something out there and people might hate it, which is really scary for a lot of people.
It is.
So how did you overcome that fear?
So that is where I started posting. This is going to be weird because it's horrible for a lot of people, but I started on Snapchat.
Okay.
Because we didn't have stories back then when Snapchat was a thing, and I started posting because I'm like, who sees that? I don't know. Sure. I don't even know how that works. But I started creating little small bits of content, of videos, and during the time there was all the filters and things like that. So I can do this. And posting little tidbits like that helped me be comfortable in front of a camera, and having to record and listening to yourself and watching your mannerisms or how you do things, that will humble you quickly.
For sure.
But you have to get comfortable doing those things. And the only way you're going to do that is doing it over and over and over again.
And I think what you said there is, I think one of the keys is you have to actually watch yourself after.
Yes.
And that is uncomfortable.
Very
Because I mean, I've had to do
uncomfortable.
that too, right? Like when I'm starting to create different content for this new firm that I started 3 years ago, I needed to see what it came out like. I
Yeah.
hadn't posted before. I hadn't done anything social media wise really at all. And I hated it. I mean, I still don't love it, but I hated it so much. But just like you said, there's so much you learn from it though.
Yeah.
You are your own worst critic, so you have to be a little bit careful not to be too hard on yourself and beat yourself up. But really important to take those lessons.
Yes.
So as you start doing that more, what was that shift like when it started to land and it started to hit on the social media experiment?
Yes. So, I mean, you could probably find my old videos now. They were horrible. For me anyway, because that's how we always view it, right? You don't realize that other people, that's how people see you anyway, or that's how you talk. You have no control over that. But it was when I started getting people that notice or compliment or say, hey, that information was great, or that video content was good, or and then you start learning how to read the analytics, because you have to learn how to do all these things. So taking classes was a big thing. I took any social media class I could take just to you always get little tidbits of information from them. But learning how to analyze your videos, people are stopping right here, right when, I flick my hair or whatever it was. And so you learn to analyze your video content that way, and then you can make adjustments as needed.
And that's a pretty high level of attention to detail.
Yeah.
That you're going through to know those kind of statistics and being able to then implement different strategies
Yeah.
to improve from that. And I think that's a good lesson. It's sometimes, devil's in the details. Understanding the details of those things, how to understand the analytics and educating yourself on those things was probably a pretty key component so that you could actually learn from them.
Yes.
Because if you just watch them over and over again, but you don't, look at any analytics or try to get some coaching or learn more information out there, it's a much slower build to improvement. Whereas if you're arming yourself with education and data, then that build's probably a little easier. Is that what you experienced?
Yeah, especially this isn't just for content, right? This happens in any line of business, because if let's say you have a new product that you put out and you have to analyze what it is you're putting out, how it sells and things like that. It's similar in real estate even. Like if you have an investor that's selling houses and these are taking longer to sell than these, you're going to start analyzing, why is that? Is it the cabinets I'm putting in, the flooring, the location, price point? There's so many key components, and that's kind of what it takes. The same in content, creating content, and just learning what it is that people like and learning what you're comfortable with, and what you're not comfortable with, you can have support and help.
For sure. So when someone is, trying to do some things out there and they're trying to do it like everybody else, what's the problem with them doing things inauthentic to themselves when they're trying to gain new clients in a small business or any industry like that where you need to get clients? What's the danger?
And that's where you can tell. You can see people are so aware and can tell that you're uncomfortable in those situations, or they can see that you're not being authentic because you're not comfortable, you're not relaxed, and everything shows up on camera. Whether, if I was just sitting here stiff and very quiet and mumbled my words, then, people could tell that this isn't my environment.
Sure.
And so when you're not your authentic self, if you're just copying what everybody else is doing, then it shows, and people notice something's off, but maybe they can't tell what it is. And so, swipe.
Yeah, it creates a disconnect, right? And when there's a disconnect there, that's not the person that people are going to usually choose to do business with if there's a disconnect.
Right.
Whereas, especially in today's day and age, when there is so much content out there and people are inundated daily with it, finding an ability to connect is the ball game. We've got to connect. And what I'm hearing is part of the way we connect is finding the authentic version of ourselves to have come out so people can feel that. So you start doing that and people start to feel that authenticity from you. They start to connect with you. What kind of happens from there with your business? What happens from there as you're building this real estate career?
So as soon as I embraced, like, this is me, this is my personality, this is how I'm going to do things. And I just dove right in and I said, I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care what the other agents are going to say. I don't care what anybody else is going to say about the videos. This is what I'm going to put out. And the people that like it are going to, follow me or call me, reach out, get my business. That's when everything changed for me. And my business has grown. And it's all just based off of social media.
And so initially it was Snapchat. When did that evolve? When did you move to other platforms, and which platforms did you move to?
So Snapchat was just like, it was just a tool that I used to practice the video making. But I was always on Facebook, always on Instagram, and did some stuff on YouTube. I mean, I've tried it all. So I've done YouTube, LinkedIn, and what blew up was TikTok for me.
Which, when you first told me this, when we talked before, I was shocked.
Yeah.
I was shocked. I mean, I hear some people saying how TikTok is great, but to me, I always thought, well, I mean, TikTok is okay to experiment with content, so you're learning how to create it, but then ultimately you've got to go to one of the other platforms to actually get business. But that's not what your experience has been.
No.
So tell me more about that. How did that happen? How did TikTok become this huge thing for you?
Well, I noticed because every social media platform has its own environment. It's its own little ecosystem, and you have to go by the rules of that system. Like Instagram's a little more polished, so you have to create content in order for that algorithm to push you out to the masses. And so when I discovered TikTok was during the pandemic, after yelling at my kids to get off the dang thing, get off TikTok. What are you doing? It's going to rot your brain. We were all stuck during the 2020 times, and we downloaded TikTok, and I realized there's so much content out there, and everybody is their authentic self. And look at all the likes, the shares, the followers, the comments. It was just like a light bulb went off. And it was interesting to see that people resonate more on TikTok with being their authentic selves. People can see so quickly when you're acting or when you're trying to be somebody you're not, and they will call you out on that. So it's a completely different environment, but it allows you to be authentic. You can literally get on, post a video, just whatever you're thinking in that moment, post it, and you'll get a lot more reach than you do on the other platforms. And so it kind of maneuvers its way through the algorithm and finds your people.
And so as you start doing that, then is it people just like in your profile on TikTok, you've got your business information? Is that kind of the way it worked? Is it like, hey, call me, or you have a call to action in it? Like, tell me more about how these clients are finding you through TikTok.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think they connect more with my personality, just getting to know me, and not my personality because I'm the best, but getting to know me. So they kind of create a parasocial relationship with me. They're like, oh, she's like me, or she likes Harry Potter. I love Harry Potter. I comment about Harry Potter all the time because
Are you a big Harry Potter fan?
I love Harry Potter.
Oh my goodness. We're going to have to do an episode on Harry Potter and talk about some other business principles.
Yes, because I know Harry Potter is in all my videos. And it's funny because a lot of the things that I will comment on in my content, I notice that when I talk to my clients, they're so similar to me because that's the reason why they reach out. But no, a lot of the time, so they've learned to, you attract the people that are similar to you, that just find their way to you, and they just reach out via comments, or they will DM you, or they will call. So I do have my contact information in my profile, and people will reach out just various ways. They'll call, they'll text, DMs. I have a form on my website that they can fill out. They fill that out. So it's just whatever people are comfortable with.
Yeah, giving them lots of options and ability to find you and connect with you.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. So let's wrap back around to Encanto.
Yes.
And so maybe set the stage for the overarching story of Encanto, just in case there's anybody that's watching a show based on Disney movies who hasn't seen it. Okay, it's always possible somebody watching this hasn't actually seen Encanto. So kind of lay the overarching story of Encanto.
So Encanto is based off of this character Mirabel, and she is born into a family that's quote unquote magical. All her family members have a special power, except her. She's the only one that does not have a special power, and she feels excluded, left out. She doesn't fit. Everybody, the whole town loves every family member for their special power that they have, and they like her, or so she thinks that they just like her. And, she's just trying to find her way in this family unit.
Yeah. And going back even a little bit further, so how they kind of got there, right, is Abuela,
Yes.
who actually doesn't have any powers either.
Oh, right.
Which is interesting. It's an interesting thing we should talk about with that. So she's got these brand new triplet babies, and the town that she's in is getting attacked. And they don't really tell you who, but getting attacked by somebody.
Yeah.
So they're trying to escape, and her husband's killed in the process, right? So as she's escaping now without a husband, and she's got these 3 brand new babies, these triplets, that's kind of when she's like, what do I do? Where do I go? I need this help. And so that's when this Encanto, right, or this magic comes, and kind of represented by this little candle, right?
Yes.
So then she has that, and then this house is created, and her 3 kids get these gifts, and then all the grandkids get these gifts as well, all except for Mirabel, right? And so it is interesting when you think about kind of why she might be feeling a little bit lost, especially at the beginning, because everybody else does seem to have these gifts, and they're all out there shining with these gifts, and everyone's looking at them for these gifts. Meanwhile, she doesn't think that she has a gift, and she thinks that she's not. It's actually like this really heartbreaking song, right, where she talks about waiting for a miracle.
Yeah.
I just listened to that again. I listened to that again this morning, and she's talking about, like, she wants to do all these things. Like, she has desires to keep the family together, to support the family. She would like to move mountains. She would like to have flowers bloom and make that like the other gifts that her family has.
Yeah.
And she's just waiting for what is her miracle and what is her miracle. And that's kind of where this story arc kind of starts, right? Where there's tension of, like, what is her place? What is she doing in this process? And so I think at that point in time, much like we're talking about, like, she doesn't know what her authentic self is.
Yeah.
She doesn't recognize what her value is, that she doesn't have to be like everybody else. And so how does that start to change for her? How does she start to go after and recognize what the value is that she does bring once she realizes the miracle's breaking?
Yeah, it's funny because the path that she takes is trying to help other people. So she's helping other people, and that's how she ends up, at the end, discovering her power. Her power is the love that she has for her family and keeping everybody together.
Yep. And it's so true. And what you start to see, though, is even when she's lost, right before she sings that heartbreaking song, what is she doing right immediately before that? She is providing the support to the youngest grandchild, right, who's going to be getting his gift, right? And so as they've been roommates, right, while he's been growing up, and they're obviously super close, and you can tell she's so kind to him, and he loves her. Like, you can see it. Like, when they're underneath the bed and she gives him a little gift, like, he adores her. And as he's nervous, because I'm sure he was, right? Mirabel was the last one. She didn't get the gift when she went to the door. Now he's ready to walk down to go up the stairs to see what his gift's going to be. So I'm sure he's super nervous. And he reaches out to her. It's like such this tender moment, right?
Yeah.
And can you imagine, like, what she's going through, where she had to have the embarrassment and shame of not getting a gift the last time around. So this has got to feel horrible for her.
Yeah.
But he needs her. He reaches his hand out. He's like, I need you. And what does she do? Self-sacrifice, right? Like, she goes to him and helps support him through it. So you can see, like, where her heart really is. She just hasn't recognized that value at that stage, right? Then she goes through this journey of helping kind of each person along the way, right? Because at first she's trying to find out some information from Dolores, but she's like, oh, go talk to Louisa. And what happens when she talks to Louisa?
Yeah, they all They all just tell her to go somewhere else.
Well, they do, but like she starts to help Louisa understand and realize
Yeah.
that Louisa is worth more than just her gift, which is misconstrued by Abuela especially.
That's true.
Because Louisa, sings her song that she's under pressure all the time because she has to be the strongest. She can't show any cracks. She can't show any weakness because she has to be strong. She has to be strong for everybody else. But Mirabel helps her to recognize that and then starts to kind of break down that facade for Louisa, where Louisa then starts to lose her gift. But that's kind of the overall idea here is that each of these people in this family are more than their gift, but they're thinking it's their gift, and that's why the miracle was breaking, right? They forgot or got astray from the fact that like it's them being together, it's them supporting each other. It's again, the real gift is them, right? That's what the last song talks about. The real gift is them, and so Louisa starts to kind of lose her gift because the overall thing is breaking, but Mirabel is the one that helped her realize she's more than that. Totally, again, misconstrued by Abuela. Abuela's like, what are you doing to your sister, right?
Yeah.
And then what happens when she goes to her other sister?
Yeah.
It's the same thing, right? She's had to be Miss Perfect, right? Perfect Isabella her whole life. And Mirabel starts to break that down. We're like, actually, you don't just have to be this perfect thing that you want. And so Isabella, instead of just creating flowers, what does she end up doing? Like she ends up making like cactuses and stuff.
Yeah.
And like things are totally different. Where she can then start to express her authentic self. It fits so well with this idea that you're talking about, right? That's why I just like, this is a perfect movie for what you're talking about because Mirabel's doing it in her journey. Luisa's doing it. Isabella's doing it. Like it's the journey that we all sometimes face of like the expectations from the outside.
Yeah.
But what is it that we're really looking for and what's authentic to us? Which is why I think this movie connects so well on that end. And ultimately, circling back to like the idea with Abuela doesn't have a gift, but her gift, especially initially, was the love and care for the family to hold the family together. But when Abuela starts to forget what the whole purpose of the gift was, which is to have the family be together, recognize everybody for who they are, and just starts to see the gifts, and that's it, and that's where the value's at, that's why it starts to break. But that's the role that Mirabel steps into. I think if they do an Encanto...
That is interesting.
I think if they do an Encanto too, I think Mirabel becomes Abuela. Like, not actually becomes her, but that's the role she ends up playing in this family, right? That she's the one who's helping to keep everybody together, even though she doesn't have this outward-facing gift. Her gift is, like, the love and care for the family and keeping them together. I think they'll do an Encanto too. I think it was too popular not to. They'll circle back to it.
I was like, Encanto too? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm sure they will. Like, that's just my prediction, and I think it would be great, as long as they bring back Lin-Manuel. Because the music was unforgettable, right?
Yeah.
It was so good. Okay, so let's circle back to your career and your journey. When people are thinking about, like, they're at a crossroads in their career or their profession where they are kind of saddled with expectations or things aren't going exactly the way they want, what do you suggest people do to try to dig deep to find more of that authentic version of themselves so that they can do something that resonates more with them, that they can, shed the expectations of other people or the criticisms of other people? What are your suggestions that people do?
Yeah, that's a great question because that is something that everybody struggles with. And I would say pay attention to what comes easy to you. That's number one, because there's times where people will, let's say, go to networking events, and that's just not their thing.
Yeah.
Or, maybe creating content isn't your thing, and maybe it is door knocking. So you just have to find those things that come a little easier, or that you don't have that, feeling as you're doing them. There's always going to be that hesitation at the very beginning when you're trying something new, but over time you get to know whether it's for you or not. So that's one of the major things, is just to pay attention to what it is that comes easiest to you. Another thing I would say, just try different things. Try different things that you wouldn't think to do. Maybe in different fields too, because there's different professions, different way that other people do it, right? And you wouldn't ever think to do it in this area, but you never know when that crossover will actually work. And for example, social media and real estate, who would have thought that was a thing? But it turned out to be so crucial, and it's actually very crucial in other areas, other businesses.
And if I could draw another one from some of the things I heard from you, it's as you're experimenting with things, like, don't be afraid to, like, have a hunger for knowledge about it. Take the classes, sign up for an online class. Like, it's super easy. There's tons of content out there. There's tons of YouTube videos that you could watch about the thing that you're having some interest in.
Yeah.
If you identify, like, this thing might resonate with me. I might actually kind of like doing this thing. Okay, well, have a hunger for it. Have a hunger for, like, I'm going to go learn more about this topic. I'm going to go watch some other things to educate me on this thing that I am so interested in, so that you can then have more tools that as you experiment,
Yeah.
that you can learn from it. You can learn better when you have more information, more data, right? Like we talked about. So those are some great takeaways. And we'll circle back to those at the end too, and kind of give some very specific, actionable takeaways that people can do today or this week to do those very things you're talking about. But first, let's go to where this or that. Okay.
Okay.
So buckle up. What I tell everybody is, be ready to defend yourself, because these might be, you might have some controversial opinions.
Oh boy.
So, let's see where you go with this. Okay. So first, this or that. Super strength or heal with food?
Strength.
Super strength. You're Louisa
Yes.
over Mirabel's mom, right? Because Mirabel's mom can heal with the food. So you're a super strength. Okay.
I would say so.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. Louisa or Isabella?
Isabella.
Okay. Tell me more.
I mean, wouldn't you want to make beautiful things?
Sure. And then not just make beautiful things, but then she ends up creating things that are unique to her that are also beautiful, even if they're different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I love it. It was interesting to me when the movie first came out. I'd heard anecdotally this story about Disney with their merchandising, right? Because they're always going to have a lot of merchandise that they have prepared to sell based on when movies come out.
Yeah.
And they have to do a lot of that in advance of the movie coming out. So they don't necessarily know what it's going to be like. Well, apparently what happened is they had a ton of Isabella merchandise, but the Louisa merchandise
heard
was
about
selling
that.
better.
Yeah.
But they didn't make as much. They didn't think it would connect as well with people. And for some reason, Louisa was super popular. They had to kind of scramble to try to create a bunch more merchandise for Louisa, because something about Louisa connected with people too. I mean, they're both great characters.
Yes.
So that's why it's a tough call on which one you say. They're both awesome. Okay. For songs, we don't talk about Bruno or Dos Oruguitas.
We don't talk about Bruno. I mean, that's
So
a
good.
classic.
So good.
That's like, it can go with anything, right?
Yeah.
And I'm always singing that in random spots. Like, we don't talk about this, or we don't talk, like it just kind of fits, and it's just catchy.
It's
a
classic. I mean, and the first Disney song to hit #1 since the early 90s, which I think
Wow.
since A Whole New World. Like, it's been that
Wow.
long since a Disney song hit #1, and it did. Now, I do love Dos Oruguitas. It is a beautiful song. And I understand why Lynn and the Disney team chose to have that song be the song they put up for the Oscar that didn't win, right? But part of me wishes they had done We Don't Talk About Bruno, because maybe that would have won.
Yeah.
Because it just was such a hit, right? Just everybody loved it. And it's become almost part of like culture in our vernacular. That's how popular it was. Okay, one more. Family dinner or solo walk?
Family dinner.
Okay.
Big time family dinner.
Yeah.
There's nothing better. I mean, solo time you can get any time, but you gotta surround yourself with the people that you love.
I agree. Family dinners are awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, I actually did add a couple others as we were talking. Gryffindor or Slytherin?
Gryffindor.
Okay.
Gryffindor. Boo, Slytherin.
Boo! Boo! Boo, Malfoy! Okay, how about this one? The original Dumbledore or the newer Dumbledore? Michael Gambon, I believe, was the newer one. Which Dumbledore?
That's a hard one. I'd have to go with the original one.
He was so good. Now, I do think Michael Gambon did a great job of filling some big
Yes.
shoes. But boy, original Dumbledore was like, I remember seeing the first one. I was like, this is exactly what I pictured when I read the book.
Yes.
Like he was the epitome of what I pictured when I read the book. He was so perfect for it.
Yeah.
But then unfortunately, passed away, and they had to replace him. But I just think the movies were wonderful. Okay, now we're gonna go to rapid fire. So just the first one to come to your mind.
Okay.
First thing to come to your mind.
Okay.
All right, you ready for this?
Okay.
Pressure's on. Favorite Disney movie?
Aladdin.
Aladdin. Okay. I mean, look, that was peak Disney decade, right? Peak Michael Eisner, where late 80s, early 90s, Disney was putting out some hits.
I mean, A Whole New World.
Oh,
Come
so
on.
good.
When you mentioned that, I was like, yeah.
And the genie,
yes.
right? Robin Williams as the
Riff
genie
Raff.
was like the perfect casting for that. Oh, he was so great.
Yes.
That was
There was a
wonderful
lot
movie.
of good songs. Riff Raff.
Yeah.
Street Rat, you know.
Oh, look
like,
at you.
I love
yeah,
it.
That's
It's
amazing. That was a great show. That's a good call. Favorite Disney song?
I would say A Whole New World.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Go
a
right
classic.
back.
Yeah.
Go right back to one that many people love. Favorite Disney princess?
Belle.
Belle.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
I love Beauty and the Beast.
Okay.
That is another one that I love, but they're just different. You know, it
Sure.
depends on what you're feeling. But Belle, I mean,
She's smart. She's curious, right? She's not just going after the best looking guy in town. She wants more than that.
She wants substance. She wants
more
the
than that.
character. That's what
Right.
she's looking at. And, self-sacrifice.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Favorite Disney villain?
Well, I was going to say Maleficent, but she's not really a villain.
Well, I mean, we'll go with her as a villain for sure. We can. I mean, she shows up in the villain parade that they do during
know.
Halloween time at Disneyland. So she definitely, we'll go with her as a villain for sure.
She's a villain, but, there's more to her, so that's why I like her.
There is. And in the movies that they did with Angelina Jolie, it certainly shows more. Now, in the original, I don't think you see more at all, right? You're like, oh, she's a villain through and through. But the movies did a nice job of showing how people are complex.
Yes.
Right? There's more to us than necessarily we see on the outside, for sure.
Yeah.
But she's a good one. That's a good choice. Favorite book?
Just over.
Any book. Favorite book. I know, that's a big question. You're
Oh,
like,
my
whoa,
gosh. Okay.
Holy Toledo. You didn't know I was going to throw something that big at you.
No, because, okay. Oh, okay, here we go. Zodiac Academy.
Zodiac. I don't even know what that is.
I know.
Tell me more. What? Okay,
Oh, my gosh.
I'm writing it down right now. What's Zodiac Academy?
Oh, my God, I don't know if you want to read it, but.
Oh, it's not. Is it no go? Is that?
No,
don't read that, everybody. Okay.
Okay, well, I love fantasy. And so it's a fantasy book, and it's about this university and it's just a group of friends. They all, they all got different elemental powers, but they're also like, they could be a creature, so a werewolf, a vampire, different things like that.
Yeah.
And so it's a series, but it's just so hilarious. It's so heartfelt. It's so complex because all the characters, it's just amazing. It's an amazing series.
So you must not know that I'm a giant nerd and that I love fantasy books. Because when you're saying Zodiac Academy, and then I maybe shouldn't, and then you said it's fantasy. I'm like, girl, if it's fantasy, like I'm probably right there. Do you know Brandon Sanderson at all? Do you know who that is? He's an author. He's actually from Utah. He was the author that was picked to finish Wheel of Time that Robert Jordan wrote. So he did the last 3 books after Robert Jordan died. And he's got just a whole bunch of content. He's pretty consistent about putting fantasy novels out. I think he's, controversial opinion, I think he's the best fantasy novelist right now.
Really?
I think that's how good he is. He's actually, his 2 main series were just picked up by Apple TV.
Oh.
So those are going to be in development. So if you haven't read him and you like fantasy, it's definitely one to do.
Okay.
But he's amazing. But I love fantasy. Like fantasy is fantastic. So sounds like I need to pick up Zodiac Academy.
Okay, well, it's romantasy.
Okay,
Romantic.
how much romantic? Is it like?
It's like ACOTAR.
I don't know what ACOTAR is.
A Court of Thorn and Roses.
Okay, that's what ACOTAR. Oh, that's what
That's what
ACOTAR is.
ACOTAR is.
Okay, so it's more like that, or is it more like Throne of Glass?
Okay, more like Throne of Glass, but
Okay, because
in
Throne
that
of
vein-
Glass, like I still had to skip a little bit because sometimes you're like, all right,
You're
that's
like, all
enough
right, I get it.
kissy.
Yeah.
Court and Roses, a Court of Thorn and Roses. I started that one and it was a lot, and I was like, all right, maybe this is not my personal cup of tea, but I could handle Throne of Glass. So it's more Throne of Glass. I'm there.
Yeah, it's a little more Throne of Glass than it is a Court of Thorn. And like the series, it's just like the underlying lessons that you learn is what's
Okay.
amazing in these books. Like, yeah, there's a lot of like different things, but I love all those, but it's a little more like.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm a sucker for learning lessons from those things, obviously, because I have a podcast about learning lessons from Disney movies. So I'm right there with you. That's definitely going to be on my list. I love it. Okay, so closing reflection. I think one of the things that I really heard a lot today is, being brave and courageous enough to not worry so much about what everybody else thinks, but finding the thing that you like and trying it. Taking a step out there, putting yourself out there, and experimenting with the things that you're trying to do to find what's really unique and personal and authentic to you. And it does take courage. But with that courage, then if we're in business, then the right clients are going to find us. I think that's an underlying message that I got from you, which is if you do that, you connect better with people because it's really you that you're putting out there. And then when you connect with the people that want to find you, then when you work with those kinds of customers, it's also going to go better because they've connected with you. So if we kind of boil down some of the things from earlier about 3 actionable takeaways that people could do today or this week when it comes to these things, what are 3 things you would tell people to specifically do now?
Probably make a list of the things that, again, come easy to you.
Okay.
Second thing would be just to try posting. Try posting on stories. You don't have to make a reel. You don't have to do just what are you doing? I mean, we're nosy. We like to see what other people are doing. So just show us what you're eating. Show us where you're going. The third thing would be...
I might add from what we talked about, maybe then watch it. Like watch what you made.
Yes.
Like go back and actually watch it. Just see what it looked like, right? Like, oh, okay, then I flipped my hair weird or I was sitting a little bit strange, right? You're not trying to make everybody else, but if you can see the way that it is and be courageous enough to go and watch yourself, then you can kind of learn from it as well.
That's who you are.
Yeah.
And you can't change the way you look. I mean, you can, but you can't change the way you look. You
to an extent, but...
Yeah, you can't change the way that you sound. And that's how other people see you.
Yeah.
And that's how your
know
loved
that.
ones see you.
Yeah, it's good to
You
know
know?
that. It's good to know how other people see you. Because, sometimes, too, it's important to embrace that for yourself. Like,
Yeah.
It's okay that you sound that way.
Yeah.
It's okay that that's you.
Self-love.
Accept that is who you are. So I love those actual takeaways. Absolutely fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being on with us today, for sharing your journey, your wisdom and knowledge, ways that people can take their personal branding to the next level and something that's more authentic to them to help them kind of build the careers they're looking for, find the clients or have the clients find them that are more in line with the kinds of clients that they want to have and the things that they want to accomplish. So appreciate your time today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. So thank you for joining us for Yes and Land, where we honor the real story you're living and invite you into the next chapter filled with hope, joy, and connection. Thanks.